Hey all, here is my layout for this next lesson in Course 2, and this lesson is to utilize the pattern tool that is found under the Paintbucket tool. Now, I don't normally use this because I prefer using the patterns here under the adjustment layer because I can easily change them from there, but sometimes it helps to limit ourselves and make us use something new, to think outside the box. Plus, it's just good to know what all the tools are that are available here in Photoshop Elements. I used the pattern tool. This is me when I was a little girl and my story. For 4th of July, I was excited to find these photos of the dirt road at my Uncle and Al's house when I was a young girl, where we always used to go to put off fireworks. And oh, I remember that dirt road so well. And so I really wanted to journal my moments, because I always tell my sons about doing this exact thing, and then I go and I find my dad is taking a photo of me squatting in the but the fun part is, if I zoom in, I can see my Girl Scout hat with all the patches. I remember all that. How funny that I actually wore it. And I'm really wondering about what's on my behind. But probably patches from the shorts from the year before. That would be my thought. But anyway, what I used to make the pattern were these firecrackers, and I probably could have put some things coming out from them, but they aren't lit yet. So this is the line of firecrackers that I tell about in the story, which I'm lighting up here in my photo. And so and I kind of made them so that they went in this box here. I probably could have done my drop shadows a little bit better, but I'm not going for perfection. I'm going for scrapping my journaling. So here is the firecracker shape that I made. I used it with shapes here, and I'm going to be giving it to you in the simplified version. It comes in 3 things here. When you're using this tool, you just need to find any shape. You can use mine if you want. You can use any shape that's in here. I would suggest you could even do this with brushes, as long as the brush is closed. So go out on the internet and find some free brushes or some free shapes that fit the theme of your layout. You don't necessarily have to make it or use mine. You can if you want. But it needs to, go with the layout you're making. And so I've got 3 layers going on here, because I have this cylinder, and I have the top, and then I have the wick. But you might have maybe, let me just go look at brushes. Is there any? There's not many in here. There is, well, I have these brushes that I just made recently. They may or may not fill, because they're grunge brushes. I have it really large. Whoops, hit the wrong button. So if I created a new layer, we might play with it here in a bit and stamp that down. We might see what happens with it if I try to fill with that. I'm thinking I can't. You need something that has an area that you can fill. Here's special effects brushes. Those aren't going to fill very well either. So yeah, I don't have any in here really that's going to work. You would need one that has an outline. And I don't have any in here. But you could also do that. or any shape out there that you could find. So basically, here's what I did was first to make a pattern, and I think we've learned this in other lessons in course 2. If not, they were in the designer course, I guess. I'm going to first create a new layer, and I used my color picker and I found a red that I thought was bright but not too bright, because the bright colored reds are going to usually be out of gamut. I got my brush tool and I went to the square brushes and just picked one, and I'm just going to hold down my shift key so my line is straight, and I drew a line. Then I went up here and I left the saturation and brightness the same. I just went up here and got a nice blue by moving the slider. And actually, I'm going to hold it down, and because I wanted red, white, and blue, and then I went and got white and and put it down in there. I'm not worrying about the tops or the bottoms. I was going to say, actually, you might want to turn off your background, but in my case I don't think it matters because I have white in mine and I'm not going to go out on the edges. So then I'm going to go in here, and I'm not going to go all the way out to the edge, but I'm just going to make a random selection, kind of center it up. I don't kind of like how the blue has more than one color in it. That's why I'm going to go and undo the white. Let's just do it from here and use the background. Make whatever kind of pattern or shape you want. It doesn't have to be stripes. And then I'm going to select an area of it, go to Edit, Define Pattern, and I can just say red, white, blue, and now I have made a pattern, and I can turn that layer off. Now to fill my shape, I'm going to make sure I'm on the correct layer. Get my Paintbucket tool, and here's where the little hidden thing is that you may not be aware that is there. Up here at the top it says pattern, and I'm going to click pattern, and then this becomes active. And I'm going to choose the pattern I just made. Here's a couple others I was playing with. And I'm just going to click down and it fills it in. Actually, I like that a little better than the pattern I made for the ones in my layout. So what I ended up doing in my layout later, and then of course I added a pattern, I think, to this one. I don't remember which one it was, the top, and then I ended up, I think, blurring it a little bit. I don't remember what I did, but I contained it when I blurred it. Used to make a selection. Blur. You can do whatever you want if you want to fill it in with a certain color, but this allowed it to show through on the back side a little bit. If you wanted, you could move this up so it didn't show that. I kind of liked it showing it. And the wick, I didn't do anything to. But you can do whatever you want to this. If you want to do some dodging and burning then after this to make it a little bit more realistic, you could do that. Like on the edges, it's going, whoops, guess it would help if I was on the right layer. You could burn the edges because the edges are gonna be a little darker than the rest of the colors. You know, and make it a little bit more realistic, and dodge in the middle. You know, take it a little further than I took it. I wasn't being so picky with mine. And then when I was doing mine, and I was actually laying it, duplicating it on my actual page, and laying it out and turning it, I found that when I went to add the pattern again, where is it? It's not really working. Turn up the tolerance a little bit there, and I clicked inside of it again and it was turned. It added the striped pattern down the middle just for a little difference, and then when I turned it again, it made a different little side angle of the stripe. You could see here that's how I ended up. Where's my actual layout? That's how I ended up with these stripes here, and then I skipped that one so they'd all be different. And this one's turned a little bit different direction, so it got a little bit different. And this one, it just made for a little variety. So let's undo a bunch of this though. How far can we go back? Aha, that's good enough. So I probably should have duplicated this before playing and tucked a set away, because I haven't saved that yet for you to give to you. So the other thing with the pattern tool, that when you have it up here, is you can use blending modes or a lower opacity. Let's say I wanted to lower the opacity on it and paint, and then it's going to look more like this. If I wanted to change the color maybe to blue and then try applying it, you're going to see that it looks like this instead of with the black. So changing the base color and lowering the opacity, or let's up the opacity some, and you just get to playing around just as always. Here's the multiply mode, and click, and now it's going to look like that. You just play around and see what you get. And there's always other options. So definitely play. See, that's more of a subtle look. What if I just had a thought? What if I put a gradient in here and then I put my pattern? Oh, that didn't work. Let's do an overlay. It's not filling the whole thing. That's kind of wild though. I kind of like it. Let's up the tolerance. Take off contiguous. I have to hit it 3 or 4 times because it's not a solid color there anymore, and that's why. So, but it gave a whole new look. So yeah, just get in here and play and see what you can do. You don't need to fill it with just a striped pattern. That's just what I did because I had patriotic. Here's a pattern I made for a paper I was working on in the last kit, and I could fill it with that. I wonder what it looks like with a full opacity. There we go. Let's see. Here's another pattern I was making on. Now I got dots. That's just simply a circle shape made on a blue background and changed into a pattern. Here's another pattern I made. Oh, stripes going the other way. So, or there are patterns in here that you can make. Here's some rock textures. Now I got rocks in there. You could take a photo, any photo, and just make a pattern with it. Like here's the photo of me, and we're gonna take the area out here in the road, and do edit, define pattern, and I'm not going to name it. And then go back over here and let's see what we get. Pattern, I'm just trying to give you some ideas. And there's the road in my pattern. Of course, it doesn't repeat very well. Maybe if I made a larger selection, because it's not a seamless tile. That's why I do it with stripes. Anyway, have fun with it. You're limited because you can't now go and resize this pattern. You're limited, but you saw how playing, a lot of times we come up with something really unique when we're playing. Like I did, I thought with the extra stripes in there, came upon accidentally. Oh, and for mine, what I did with mine was because I was stacking them, I did take them after I made them, well, I'm going to merge these together. Let's say it was patriotic looking, and I did hold down my control button and I did bring in these edges here a little bit because I wanted mine to look like with perspective, like this was higher up than the bottoms. So I did play with my shape, and you see that helped to make it a little more realistic, especially when it's like going, resting on the edge of a, I could play with my drop shadows better, might make it better, but especially when it's resting on the edge of a box, so that this part was wider than this part, and every one of them is that way. See, needed that kind of help. You can see how this is thinner here than there, so it looks more like it's resting down in the box. And this one here, of course, wasn't made it smaller. This one too, it's resting on the box, so the top and the bottom. So I did do that too. So you got to think realism by this time in course 2. You could be doing a whole lot better thinking about these little tips. Anyway, have fun, and I want to hear your stories about how limiting yourself with patterns made something more creative.